We're playing as Jack, a druid rogue sorcerer fighter ranger who just cleared Act 1, and in our effort to learn all of the trades, we now find ourselves in the shadow-cursed lands of Act 2. Every time we level up, Withers will give Fate a spin and we'll rock with whatever we get.
As it should.
If you haven't seen Act 1, you can find it in the annotation. Now let's get Act 2 underway. Staying in the dark in these lands is inadvisable as you'll encounter all sorts of negative effects. We're fortunate enough to have our mace, the Blood of Lathander, which exudes Lathander's radiance, though if you want to emulate his divine grace, you can always cast light on your weapon. This alternative unfortunately can't blind enemies like Lathander can, or, shoot giant death lasers, though something good to keep in mind. With this power, and the ability to blind nearby enemies, we help some nearby travelers with the cursed shadows of these lands. In thanks, they offer us a means of protection from the curse, their base. Being that I have a glowy mace of utter destruction, I'm less interested in the protection, but it's a good lead of how to rid the curse itself. Being a druid by birth, it's the least I can do. The group we helped belonged to the Harpers, which is a group that fights villainy across the continent. Harper Lysandra leads us to their base, the Last Light Inn, led by the High Harper druid Jaheira, a familiar face to some. She has a less than sympathetic view on our parasite explanation. Fortunately, our good deeds have come to pay off, as Maul and the surviving tieflings have made it halfway to Baldur's Gate, similarly taking refuge. We earn ourselves the benefit of the doubt and take this opportunity to discuss our plans with Halsin, who tagged along for the same purpose, defeating the Shadow Curse. So far, we don't have much leads, but Halsin does mention a boy called Thaniel, so we'll have to keep an eye out for devil children. Speaking of which, it's not been 2 seconds since walking in here, and Maul has already sold her soul to Raphael. I never give up an opportunity to spit in Raphael's face. From one demon child to the next, it's not 2 more seconds later until we stumble upon another one. Still not Thaniel, but Oliver. He wants us to play hide and seek with him, no cheating allowed. Don't tell Oliver, but I had Volo install the latest hide and seek software on this bad boy, making this game a cakewalk. Round 2 is here, and we're simultaneously the hider and seeker. If Oliver can go invisible without breaking the rules, so can I. After we bust him up, he gives us a not so good ring, but we'll take it. It's clear this isn't our kid, so we'll have to look elsewhere. The Harpers invited me to join them on their ambush, since the Absolute has a means of fighting the Shadow Curse even stronger than Lathander. I normally do these fights to showcase the build and its strengths, but actually one of the bigger benefits of being all the classes is you get all the unique dialogue options, making Jack a skilled negotiator. We're able to get plenty of advantage rolls this way, and with the added guidance, we can talk our way through most situations. Some more careful words and a false incantation later, we easily dispatch the group and get a moon lantern, the clear source of this protection. Inside the cage, we find a captured fairy, and in exchange for freeing her, gives us her blessing, protecting us from the curse for good. And it's with this justification that we head right into the heart of the Shadow-Cursed lands. Though firstly, some old friends. Luckily, for us, they were taken by the Shadow Curse, leaving them as mindless husks, letting us pick them off from range. Now our mission is to infiltrate Moonrise, but before that, it's best if we do some other chores. Namely killing the 3 Thorms, Malice, Garingoth, and Visibald. Starting on Malice, with our roguish perception, we notice his assistance blades are too dull to be used on me. Besides, I'm not particularly a good target, what with my one eye. It'd be best if we got a master to be the patient.
I see now. By example, I must edify and quell the light that blinds us.
Okay, good work. Man, I should just do this more. Let's visit the local drunkard, Visibald. Despite all of my trades, I unfortunately don't have any that help me drink. But my roguish background saves me once more as I pretend to have a drinking contest. We learn Ketheric Thorm is the cause of the Shadow Curse, so we will undeniably need to butt heads with him. No leads on Oliver though. After spinning some phantasmal tales, we're able to swindle our way out of another encounter. Garingoth is the last of the Thorms we need to look about, and you can see the absurd amounts of dialogue choices we have to choose from. Fortunately, or unfortunately, however you see it, we don't need to roll to beat her, just bribe her. With a lot of gold. How much is a lot of gold? 5,000 gold pieces.
Pause.
Well, what do we get for 5,000 gold down the drain? A signed trade visa. It's a spell scroll that lets us cast Flesh to Gold, which is like Stone to Gold. But the only difference being I'm way poorer than I was a second ago. Whatever, that's the 3 Thorms dealt with just our words. It's about time we got an extra level. Withers, if you would please.
Spin.
Oh, come on, Withers. Warlock? At level 1, Warlock gets a subclass, so I can't complain. But I would love to have Cleric right now. Ah well, we get more cantrips to add to our growing collection. And a subclass, which I went with the Fiend. It gives us temp HP whenever killing an enemy. In hindsight, I might have wanted the Great Old One, but whatever. Either won't help very much anyways. Now that the chores are out of the way, I can look to find more on this Shadow Curse, and I think I have a lead. In the Last Light Inn is a man stuck in a deep slumber, and in his ramblings, he mentions Daniel. I immediately tell Halsin about this, who confirms that this is the boy we're looking for. He doesn't know how to wake him, but I do. The real reason we fought the Thorms already is Malice had a loot on him belonging to an AC, Articula. After playing the loot, he wakes and tells us what we need to know, I guess. Halsin seems to know, I have no idea what they're talking about. But either way, he leads me out back and tells me something about this perilous mission that only he can do, which sounds like crap, but we've got no other leads. He wants me to defend his portal for a couple turns, which doesn't sound so bad. I can probably handle it. Oh, there's a couple of guys. Alright, with my armor and blinding, I can hopefully tank them. I'll put down a layer of darkness to make it even harder for things to hit me. Oh, that's a lot of guys. Okay, how many guys are there? Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. I need a new strategy better than I can handle it. The answer is simple. Barrelmancy. Not in the typical sense. We need to acknowledge that smoke powder barrels aren't the only useful barrels in existence. I scrounge up every box, barrel, fishing rod, you name it, and place it in front of the portal. Are you feeling defended yet, Halsin? I also tried recruiting some volunteers to fight for me, though they didn't have Isabel's protection or something. I guess I'll have to go at it alone. A couple more barrels and my defenses are just about done. Ranged attacks can still hit the portal, so to finish it all up, I encase the whole thing in a layer of darkness. I can then use my bonus action to go invisible and slink away. Oh. I appear to be stuck. Anyways, after slinking far away, we can watch the shadow creatures struggle from safety. There are seriously way too many of these guys. There's not enough actions in the world for me to fight these guys normally, so all we can do is sit back and watch, and hopefully our defenses will last the whole length. Some quirks of the AI are showing. These guys, for instance, are trying to fight me but don't know I'm invisible. They do know my location though and try to get to me. This whole time they're also burning from Saloon's radiance, so I've got to give them some props. The real problem are these damned ravens. The game spawns like 12 of them and they rip through my defenses. And eventually they do just that, breaking through all of my barrels and reaching the portal. It's the last turn, I think they're gonna kill my portal, but it just barely holds. The enemies perish and I get a crap ton of XP. Now to just meet up with Halsin. Halsin buddy? You okay? Come on out. I don't think he's coming out. Doing combat again reveals that Halsin has found Thaniel.
It's done. I have him. No.
However, something is off. He's hollow in some way. Talking later in camp, he tells us of how he was split into Thaniel and the reigning hide-and-seek loser, Oliver. And after confronting him, he flees through a portal, which if you go through immediately starts combat, which I won't do. Instead, I'll just go to Moonrise, and Oliver's right at the statue. He is protected by a night dome, which does damage to us if we attack it, and it's guarded by his mummy and daddy. Before doing anything, we can aggro mummy and daddy and kite them towards Moonrise, safely shooting them on the way. Midway through the fight, they teleported onto this roof, and I thought they were stuck. That's when I saw this destructible wall above the stairs I never noticed before. Once again, gamers are cursed to never look up. We break the wall down, finish off Oliver's adopted parents, loot the super secret room, and go back to finish the job. The gimmick of this fight is Oliver will summon clones every turn, and every time you defeat one, the shield around him will lose HP. Get the shield to 0, and you win. Now he spawns clones every turn, and can max out at like 40, so we really need a strategy to not get overwhelmed. I have a revolutionary strategy that has never been seen before. Standing somewhere really high. None of the enemies can jump, so we can just stand on the neighboring rooftop and pick off clones one by one until combat is over. After murdering his adopted parents and 27 cousins, Oliver is understandably angry I left him all alone. Because of this, we're able to convince him to rejoin Daniel where they can be together.
He'd stay with me. Play with me.
Mission accomplished. The job's not done yet though. One last thing to do, kill Ketheric Thorm to finally release these lands of its awful curse. I think it'd be cool if the curse lifted before Ketheric, but what can you do? One more level beforehand and we get Barbarian, which lets us rage. No longer as helpful since we're wearing heavy armor, but it's a large HP gain I guess. The only thing left to do is to go clear out the Temple of Shar. I brute force my way through some puzzles and prepare myself for the trials ahead. And the first trial is how to kill Balthazar. Normally there's a large combat here that's very difficult with just one party member, but there's a better way. Just open Balthazar's door and he'll personally help us in the fight. Now, wait. This door is usually locked, and you're correct. Fortunately for us, Roa was selling a scroll of knock, meaning we can cast it on Balthazar's door and make him do his own dirty work. While Balthazar takes the front line, I'll be guarding the back line. Alright. And one heartfelt battle later, Balthazar lays slain by his own hubris. Now, that's a lot of guys. Balthazar did a real crap job killing you all. I think it's about time we slinked out. We've got real trials to do. The only one being worth mentioning is the same self-trial, since the others are fairly straightforward. To make this easier for yourself, I'd recommend unequipping everything beforehand, but I'll be going in head first. Here our varying abilities come back to bite us. I'll let you just watch and see. That's right, he's not level 1 in everything. He's level 7 in everything. I'm really regretting not bringing no items in here. We did start the fight with Sunbeam though, so we're already halfway there. I have a lot of armor class and can inflict reeling due to my items, so I'm wearing the Holy Lance helm, which does radiant damage on a miss. Perfect for our Radiant Weaker clone. It was really torturous, but in no time we get all of the Umbral gems apart from one, the one guarded by Yrgir. Willow's Eye comes in handy yet again, revealing Yrgir and his boys awaiting an ambush. This fight is difficult in a number of ways, the first being not the best way to start. To avoid getting one-rounded like this, the simplest thing to do is fight him in melee. Yrgir won't detonate his bombs if he's too close, so we're spared in that regard. Finding Yrgir is no big problem, and he was so kind as to leave us a grouping of highly volatile explosives. After which it's important that you don't forget to move close to Yrgir so you don't get exploded a second time like I did. A couple more well-placed explosives and Yrgir is sent back to the depths of hell. With all gems in tow, we can go to the source of Ketheric's invulnerability, the Night Song. We free her, and as a result, we can kill the root cause of the curse plaguing these lands. It's time we march on Moonrise, and it seems like they've already gotten a head start. There's no time to waste. We climb up, entering the door we left open earlier, and face Ketheric himself. This fight is going to be fairly straightforward. Try to keep Aelin as healthy as possible and kill everything. Wall of Fire and Sunbeam are going to be key aspects of this. Aelin and her Moonbeam does good work dealing solid damage to Ketheric, but she really can't last long. It's fortunate there's a cliff here to deal with the stronger enemies, but Ketheric himself can't be moved unfortunately. Fortunately, we can do enough damage and move on to the hardest part of the run, Merkel. This is where Lonewolf runs are tested to see if they're viable or not, and let me tell you, Jack of all trades is not viable. You'll never get an extra attack, so your damage is severely handicapped. I spent hours trying to find a way to fight him, but we don't have the tools to beat Merkel right now. I'm sorry to say, we're gonna need some help. We go dig up Shadowheart's corpse and recruit her on a brief journey right into the heart of Shar's temple. We stealthily obtain the Spear of Night and Shadowheart plunges it straight into Aelin, giving her the powers of a Dark Justicar. And the best spear in the game, Shar's Spear of Evening. This gives us fantastic bonuses, especially when synergized with the other equipment of Shar. With this whole kit, we'll be unstoppable. Right, Shadowheart? Shadowheart? Huh. I wonder where she ran off to. We don't need our help anymore though. Let's head back to Merkel. Not before leveling one more time. One more level will do us a lot of good, especially if you get clear. Yeah! With being a cleric comes worshipping a god, and after killing Shar's Justicar, I think my saloon sleeper agent is just awoken. Now the real prize is War Domain. We can attack as a bonus action every round. Budget extra attacks, here we come. We can only do this a limited amount of times, but it's still one of the best abilities we've gotten so far. You'd think all of this would help, and I did too, but it's still not enough. We can more reliably kill Ketheric since he doesn't start invulnerable, and with Shar's equipment we can see in the darkness while our enemies can't, but we just don't do enough damage. One of my favorite Lonewolf spells is Feign Death, since it can disengage you from combat. That's when it doesn't start a rave party. That was just a fluke, however. You can use Feign Death to get out of the Merkel combat. We can't do anything though. Door's still closed, but at least now we can think of options. At first I tried using this one spot for partial cover, however Merkel has dark vision, so this wouldn't work. I tried going in pure darkness to attack him, but that didn't work either. That's until I noticed that this doesn't apply to Wall of Fire. Unfortunately, darkness and Wall of Fire are both concentration, so we can't use them at the same time. My initial thought was to use Shar's Spear to create darkness that doesn't require concentration to cast from. However, I don't have enough short rest to cast it multiple times, but that's when I noticed something. I cast Concentration Darkness, and then after casting Wall of Fire from inside, the game still counts me as being hidden despite having to stop concentration. We found it, the Merkel cheese. After 2 firewalls, Merkel is down to just 12 HP, so we grab our trusty Blood of Lathander and cast one last Sunbeam to banish Merkel, Ketheric, and the Shadow Cursed from these lands. With Ketheric dead, we check in on Thaniel Oliver, who confirms we've done it. The Shadow Curse is receding, and soon Moonrise will be the beacon like it once was. We've done everything we needed to, so we take the long road to Baldur's Gate for Act 3. Oop. What? Oh, for fuck.
Fate spins along, then thou must provide. This is the price of welcome.
Hey, go away. Alright. Now, we're on the long road to Act 3.
The curse has been lifted, the lands cleansed of the shadows. Ketheric's reign of living death is over. Your courage has been tested, and in this at least, you have triumphed.